Guys, welcome to Robin Hood Diaries. Today, it's kind of part three of a world tour that my husband and I took for a while, for a summer. So, being this part three, we've already covered Geneva, meeting Debbie Harry. We've covered Turkey, which was too many adventures to mention. And tonight we're going to cover London. My husband and I have been to London a couple times, once before, but this, as I promised, is going to be tearing up the nightclub scene. So if that's what we're focusing on, then let's start right there. Well, let's see. I have, a history, so to speak, of that, UK and Ireland because of my family. We're going to talk about that too. Ireland vis-a-vis my trip with my husband, again, to see all my Irish relatives, being 50% Irish. But nevertheless, I had a relative, one of a couple that lived in London when I was there, young guy, just moved there. I'm not going to say who, what, when, or where. But, well, there was a club. I don't want to say the name because it's just like, I guess, was big for him. So we're in this club. I don't want to say the name. Don't let me do that by accident. It's a gay nightclub, two-story. It's a fabulous old building. You can tell, like, well, not colonial, but just you can tell. Turned into this fabulous two-story club. So long story short, my husband and I are there. Huge dance floor at the bottom. We're at the, whatever, the look down part. And I noticed that this young relative gentleman of mine, is there, one of a couple that lived there. So, my dad, oh my God, Freudian slip. My husband, we're grooving, his shirt's off, we're watching all the dancers. This relative wants to have a cigarette. So, being that I was a heavy smoker at the time, we went and did so, very casually. And in the back, he just decided to out himself to me. Okay. He was not known for being gay. He, I guess, just felt compelled at that moment in time to completely come out to me. He had girlfriends and everything, and I'm taking his stride. I mean, I've been to the rodeo a couple times, but I just thought that was kind of odd. First bumping into him in this wild club, and then that was like our encounter. Like, we didn't hang out or anything. It was just cigarette, and then I don't know, get lost in the crowd again. That was kind of very odd. So then there's another club. It's actually more of a bar club. And I wish I could remember the name. It was really sleek inside. I went to this one alone, right? You got to get on the tubes. Michael was, getting settled in the hotel room that was in Hampstead. So I said, look, you got to catch the tubes back by a certain time. So I'm going to go and scope out and see what else we can do. So I tubed into London, this really nice, cool bar, all sleek and clean and really friendly. And then there's like this downstairs part that's darker and dancier, but not creepy. So, in looking around and having a couple cocktails and making fast friends, as I am wont to do, there is, of course, the area where nightclubs are like, what nightclub is on what night, and they're like cards and flyers and stuff. So I picked up this nice card, again wanting to do more, and so there was more to be had. So this card said Fruit Factory, and the gentleman at that club bar place told me that it was really like the hottest thing going at the time. It was, it was like an event night thing. It wasn't like called Fruit Factory, or maybe it was called Fruit Factory. I don't know. Anyway, so the night of, the next night, of course, that we decided to go partying, Uh, we tube in, but this nightclub is impossible to find. So we are running around in the rain, and none of those tiny cabs that you get that are cheap are available. They're only these like mansion cabs. So we blow more money on that to get to the fruit factory. It's not even close. So we're running again in the rain, and of course down the way there's the fruit factory mob scene, but miraculously we get in. So with the help of a few happy pills, because traveling around Europe is not a good idea even back in 98 to have contraband, shall we say. But there are other ways. So we had some happy time things, and of course a couple of cocktails. So you walk in to Fruit Factory, again happy, pre-happy, having been in the rain and all of the other stuff. It is like, if you can imagine Studio 54, but like Moroccan. It was like there were endless sections. I don't know what kind of building it was before, but there's these endless sections of these like, I don't want to say like hippie, like kind of bohemian, and it's all lit especially for each room, and not bright, dark, intimate, really, like Moroccan, like curtains and flowing sparkly things, but as hot and heavy and loud as a Studio 54 and as big. So guess what? Sean gets on the dance floor, having been to the restroom to make a trip, and proceeds to decide to dance on the dance floor. Now, my husband and I are not big on dancing with each other, but Sean is obviously big on dancing with himself, because with the help of whatever, and a couple cocktails, and being with my husband, I just start to dance by myself. The dance floor is very crowded. Well, once I go into convulsions with my special, like you ever see like Seinfeld, remember how she danced? Well, not too far off, not that bad. But it is so weird that the huge dance floor clears. Okay, so I am wearing my favorite shoes I bought in London. I'll tell you about that later. And I am absolutely epileptic. I'm having an epileptic fit on the dance floor, spinning around. My husband doesn't know what to do. I work it out of my system, I guess, and depart the floor, and everyone resumes normal behavior, I suppose, considering mine was so abnormal. So we enjoyed the rest of the club. Of course, I had to get on the dance floor immediately. Why, I do not know. Huge bathroom, by the way. My God, gigantic marble everywhere and cute guys everywhere. Actually everywhere. But it was like, it was a mixed club. There was nothing like gay about it or anything. It was LGBTQA plus about it. It was just, I guess, very like whatever friendly to whatever. So I kind of don't remember, well, not really. Sean's not really good at remembering. I don't black out or anything. I just get hazy. But I remember the impact of that club, and it was like production designed. I mean, it was really like carefully laid out, and the mood, the like hip kind of, not trendy, but just like the hipness of it at the time was worth running in the rain, was worth blowing all that money on that mansion cab, the big, old ones that are so cool, but they're like 4 times the price of a regular cab. We made it there, just barely, running in the rain. And there were so many other fun things in London. It's really kind of hard to grab onto, but I wanted to hit you with some of the fun stuff, of several fun stuffs. I did mention shopping, actually. I did mention those shoes. The minute we arrived and got our hotel, the little area, I believe it's Hampstead, shops, of course, and everything. I had my eyes on these black shoes from the minute we hit the ground, the minute we went down. By the way, you guys, the food in London, they have like, it's diverse, so it was right next to where we would run down for like fast food, this weird chicken place. And those were the shoes, there were the shoes, there were the shoes. And every friggin' time we went down the block, I would gaze at these friggin' shoes with Michael, with him having major eye roll. Finally, we broke down and bought Sean's special shoes that were like so amazingly fabulous. And I get them, and of course they're like yay high, like way too yay high, and have silver buckles on the front. But I just thought they were the living end in '98. And so, to add to the frenzy of the epileptic fit, the convulsions that I went into on the dance floor, Sean got to wear his shoes that he obsessed on from the minute he set foot at the hotel. The shoes really weren't actually very comfortable on the dance floor, and they made like weird clinking noises because of the buckles that I were so in love with. So they didn't actually fit very well. So oh well with the shoes, but they had their debut, and made me into a dancing fool. So that was kind of London. King's Road, amazing. We did King's Road. Everybody has to do King's Road, by the way, if you go to London. It's not the King's Road that I knew in '81, '82, where people were selling vinyl LPs on fold-out tables. I'm serious. '81, '82 King's Road, that's what it was like. It was like thrift stores and whatever the frig. Anyway, it had changed considerably by the time my husband got there, and I. So totally amazing. Saw a guy get in a major fight with an employee at Virgin Records and literally throw him into the street. And then, of course, Sean discovers that we don't have enough money to pay for the hotel. And I'm on the phone on King's Road in one of those red, British, phone booths. And let's just not talk about how Mike and I got away from the hotel just in time on a budget. Okay? So that's London for now. I'm not going to bore you with any more of that. We are going to get to another very, very amazing story about me in London. And then we're going to move on to Ireland, and that will be all 4. Ooh, did I make it 5? Anyway, I'll keep it at 4, whatever. Okay, love you guys, bunches and bunches. Thanks for putting up with me, and don't forget, do everything I wouldn't do. See you soon. Bye.